And we are live.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the Crimson Head Elder live stream interview with very special guest, Michelle Ruff.
Hi, everyone.
Hey, Michelle. I'm sure, as everyone knows, you starred in Resident Evil Revelations as Jill Valentine, and we'll be playing. Thank you, and we'll be playing your game and enjoying your performance with. We have Sonny Bauer, who will be playing the game.
Hello, everybody. And also, we have a very special guest host today from Resident Evil Database. It's Moni.
Woohoo!
Hello, everyone. I'm from Resident Evil Database, and I'm a little nervous because English is not my first language. So be nice to me, everyone, please.
No!
We love you, Moni. We know you'll do just fine.
Moni, everyone's already hearing that your command of the English language is better than mine, so please don't worry. Okay, so Michelle, again, thank you so very much for joining us. As I'm sure your fans know, that Steam went down last week, and it was so kind of you to agree to come back again this week.
My pleasure. My pleasure. I was probably as bummed as everybody else because I was looking forward to it. So I'm glad we were able to reschedule.
Oh, well, I mean, I know we were all very disappointed, but that disappointment was so short-lived, you know, when you were so kind to offer to come back again, so thank you. And we'll start the game very shortly. Just to quickly say, we're getting so many fans in the live chat already, Michelle, saying hi to you. We've got William J. Rose, William Ford, Maria Vincius, Murillo Vincius, I think that's pronounced, Jerry, Bloody Eye, and many more. We'll pass on all their questions and their sentiments to you.
Thank you for joining us today. It's going to be fun. Woohoo!
Fantastic. Okay, so right. So, well, Artie, are you ready to traverse?
I'm ready. I'm ready. Is everybody else ready to go to the Queen Zenobia?
Queen. Yes. I'm ready.
Let's do it.
So just to say to the guys in the live chat, any questions for Michelle, then please just text them across, and we'll put them straight away over to Michelle.
May I send a message to the people from Brazil to hear?
Absolutely.
Can send questions. Pessoal, quem quiser mandar perguntas para Michelle pode postar em português aí no chat, que eu traduzo aqui, pelo menos vou tentar, tá? Me dê um desconto. Okay, did it.
Thanks, Monique.
I don't know what she said, but it sure was pretty.
Thank you.
Obrigado, Moni.
Yeah.
So, Michelle, are we right to think that when you were first given the gig for Revelations, that obviously you're so famous and so beloved in the world of anime, but was Resident Evil Revelation your first video game voice?
No. I've been doing video games prior to that for a while. There was Rita Mordio from Tales of Vesperia and Disgaea. Gosh, there were quite a few. I would have to look back at my IMDb to see what came first, but Jill was this was definitely not my first rodeo.
And yeah, someone's mentioning already in the live chat that you were in Persona. Smiley, hey Smiley.
Persona, yep.
And when you first sort of got on the set, Capcom's set for Revelations, how did you find it, in comparison to, that your previous work, perhaps in terms of the direction and maybe any less or more interaction you had with your co-stars?
Well, there wasn't any interaction with co-stars, but it was definitely a different vibe because we had... Oh, I'm just hearing that. We had Japan on Skype with us. We had clients from Japan in the room.
Since Chris and Jessica dropped off the radar.
But the interpolation from their last known coordinates puts them
right here on this ship.
scary. So yeah, but you know, it was very serious because I guess I was taking over. You know, it's like when you pass the baton on a character, you have to really, like, for me, it was like approaching it with kid gloves. You know, because I didn't want to let the fans down.
Yeah.
But you know, and they really wanted to keep her very like serious and kind of monotone, like they're, you know, which sometimes is harder to do because they're, you know,
for a while.
you got to find those points where you can actually put some color into it without going overboard.
I was just going to say, Michelle, everyone must make sure that we don't talk over your performance on Revelations, and we don't ask you a question when you're on screen. But that's interesting, though, that you mentioned that in terms of the direction you were given, maybe to keep the emotions down.
Yes. Yeah. Emotions down, kind of just you know, she had to really be tempered in a lot of ways, you know, because she's badass. She's on a... Oh, hello. That's pretty gross.
Because I'm sure Monique. I was just going to invite Monique to. I was going to invite Monique to come in here because, you know, you mentioned, Michelle, about your concerns with it being such a beloved character, and I'm sure with you know with the Brazilian community, Moni, that Jill Valentine is such a popular character.
Yes, she is. Just like Leon. Leon and Jill are like the king and the queen of Resident Evil but I think it's worldwide. I don't think it's just in Brazil. And I have a question from Murilo. He asked if Michelle already knew the franchise, or if she was a fan of the franchise before her voice to Jill.
I mean, I knew of the franchise. I knew, you know, it's like the movie probably was more in my realm because of Mila, you know, the way that she played Jill. But I had never seen the video game. No, I'd never been a part of playing the video game. But I do love it. I think it's pretty amazing. I mean, look at that animation. Gorgeous.
Have you played the game after it was released? I mean, Revelations.
I tried.
No.
I played it, but not very well.
Okay, yeah.
Oh my God, is she putting her hand in like goopy blood? Ugh.
With no gloves on, right? She's like, "Don't worry, I've done this before."
Yeah.
So, it's no Chris.
Have gloves, but it's okay.
That shot right there with the gun with the hand attached to it, that's an homage to the original game from '96. There was a cutscene that the opening cutscene featured the same exact shot like that.
Oh my God. Ew.
And so great that we can all enjoy it. It's such a wonderful game.
Oh my God.
So funny.
So gross.
This explains our missing crew.
This is not good.
Because
No
initially,
shit, Sherlock.
I wonder if their decision to make you sound sort of like, you know, just kind of like, not really like detached, but like, you know, sort of more stoic was because maybe she's been through it for so many years and she's kind of gotten numb to the experience of fighting bioterror over time. I'm not sure.
Yeah, and I also think it's just the style of the game in general, you know, the animation, it's very dark, you know, I mean, the animation's beautiful, the animation's not dark, but the feel of the game is very dark, obviously. It's not really...
This sunny and idyllic Mediterranean coast was the site of one of the world's greatest structures.
and you know, initially it came out as a mobile game for the 3DS. Well, you know, as not on a main console. So great that it was then remastered and that we can all enjoy it. And I mean, did Capcom ever contact you, Michelle, during the different stages? You know, the incarnations first, being ported to the 360 and the PS3, and then being remastered in HD a few years later. Were you aware, of this, the way the game progressed like that?
No, I mean, once I recorded, you basically sign your firstborn away. And once that happens, they can pretty much do whatever they want with it,
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
There are two questions here for Michelle, but please finish
Say again?
There are two questions for you, Michelle, but you. So please.
No, go ahead.
The BSAA, a counter-bioterror
Question from
NGO,
Bloody Eye.
which operates
Yes,
independently of the
if
interests
you are
of
a
any one
horror
country,
fan.
went in as observers to assist the
I
FBC.
am.
Okay.
Realizing the
I
need
am,
for immediate and decisive action,
I mean,
Supreme
I
Local
like
Headquarters issued
the
the order
horror
to use
films,
the city's
like
solar energy matrix on
old
itself.
school horror films,
Media
like The
outlets around the world
Exorcist
began to refer to the
and
incident as the Terra Grigia panic.
Poltergeist. That stuff to
Following
me
the
is really
incident,
scary because
the
you're not
FBC
really
announced it has
dealing
successfully
with
disbanded the
graphic
terrorist
stuff.
group
It's
called
sort of
Veltro.
the
It is now
it's sort of, well, you are
2005,
dealing with
and
graphic
a
stuff,
sense
but
of calm and
it's sort of
security
more
is
along
finally
the
returning
lines
to
of the
people.
supernatural,
But, as you can see,
Yeah,
the
more
lost city of
psychological,
Terra Grigia
maybe?
remains
Yes.
inaccessible.
Yeah,
A
exactly.
silent and potent
And it's
symbol of
interesting
the
you-
threat that bioterror
Go ahead.
poses for
Go
people
ahead, Paul.
around the world.
It's just interesting Michelle says that, because that's very much the take, I think, you guys can come in and say if you agree, of the original Resident Evil game, that because they weren't relying on modern day graphics that we can enjoy now and spectacular textures, they had to rely very much more on the atmosphere, to generate the tension and to generate the engagement that we have, rather than the graphics so much.
Yeah. But I mean, I love this stuff, and I really appreciate it, and the artistry that goes in on every level is just incredible. Look at that! Look at this shot. These shots are gorgeous.
Capcom's always been great with it, with sort of innovating design with the technology. They always take it one step further with the technology, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I just like the character design and the animation on the character. And this is from 2011. I just think it's really beautiful.
Is that its name?
Yeah,
It's almost, you could almost play it 3D if you had glasses on.
Oh, true. Yeah. No, considering that this started on a handheld device and they optimized it for modern day systems right now and the computer. Yeah, it looks. I gotta say, it looks really great.
Really beautiful.
Yeah.
Yep.
Michelle, we have a question from your anime fans. Adam Swartz says, if you don't mind answering a non-RE question.
Not at all. Go ahead.
How has your experience been as part of the Sailor Moon redub as Luna?
Oh, it's been wonderful. We did I did my last episode a couple of months ago, and it was really sad, like saying goodbye, It's such a, oh, hello. It's such a beloved, series and beloved characters. So again, it was like that whole thing with, doing something that's been done before and really wanting to. There she goes, putting her hand, like no gloves inside. I'm sorry. I'm trying to do two things at once here. Answer the question and watch the video. Oh my God. Okay. Jill, don't touch your face. Do not rub your eyes or put your finger up your nose.
She's like, it's okay. I've done this before. It's all right.
Oh my God. Anyway, back to Luna. It's doing a character that's so beloved and was already done before, and then going in and redubbing, was really kind of interesting and scary.
I can imagine. Yeah.
But I found out recently that the creator of Sailor Moon actually handpicked all of the cast this time around because what happened in the 80s when they first dubbed it is a lot of stuff had to be changed because it was so progressive for its time. There really, you really don't get like the full gist of what it was about. Like, with the whole, there was a lot of, transgender and one love kind of stuff, and I think she was really excited to be able to re-release the series because it was in the original form that she wanted it to be in, and that's not any fault of the actors, that's just where the world was at the time. Ew. Gross!
That's basically
The
where
hell
she.
is that?
That's where she stuck her hand in last time. The mouth.
I
of the,
know.
Of the
Why
dead
didn't
one.
It could have totally sucked her in.
It totally could have, considering that this one surprised them and took them off guard.
I suppose. So why'd you quit
There's
the
a
BBC for
question
this
here.
outfit?
I forgot who sent it, but I mean, it was Aline Santos. She's from Brazil, by the way.
Who is?
She asked. It's Aline. Her name is Aline.
Hi, Zalini.
She asked if you think you look like Jill somehow.
Do I? No. I don't think so. Maybe my booty. But my booty's bigger than that. But she got booty. She got a nice booty.
Yeah, I think.
My
I mean, it's
husband likes my booty, so we're just gonna go with that.
There you go.
Well, I hate my booty. I wish I had Jill's booty. So
You wish you had. I wish I had Jill's booty too. I was just at the gym for an hour and a half this morning trying to look like Jill's booty.
It's interesting there that you bring that up, guys, because I think that in terms of her figure and how Jill's been her character model in the past, it was I think Moni may want to comment on this as well. It definitely was noticeable that they had kind of increased the sexuality of the characters with Jill in this game, and also with Jessica in this game as well, and the outfits that they were wearing that really just don't seem very practical for the mission in hand.
I mean,
Well, the wetsuits.
She still looks pretty practical.
Yeah, well, right here she's wearing her more traditional BSAA outfit, the organization she's with. When she's on the ship, she's wearing that, the wetsuit with the zipper down a little bit.
Oh, right.
It's skin tight.
Show signs of viral
So yeah, that's what they're talking about.
really, she has to show before she gets older, and then everything falls because of gravity.
Exactly.
I enjoy
You
life.
got it, flaunt it, girl.
We have a question and sentiment from William J. Rose, Michelle, which is just repeated by many fans. And I know it wouldn't be fair to phrase this as a question, so there is sentiment coming in, perhaps with regard to any future installments that are coming up, fans that, clearly that very much would love to hear you voice the character again. But questions that that come from that. William J. Rose wanted to know, and he says he would love to hear you again in voice the character in the series. What's your take on the Jill Valentine character in general? How do you find Jill as a character, perhaps as a female character in video games, and what's your take on her?
Hi, William. That's a good question. I would love to be able to voice her again. I think my take on her is that she's tough. I mean, she's a tough character and she's badass.
I'll go back
You
to
know-
HQ. Take charge of the search and rescue. You two will be my eyes out there.
I'm just watching. Yes, sir. Yeah, I mean, just the way that they have her move and stuff, and the way that she addresses these guys. When you've got a woman in the middle of a military situation or a situation like this who's able to hold her ground, it's cool. It's like it's like a hat tip to Linda Hamilton from Terminator.
Very true.
Yes.
It's funny
Yes.
that you say that because in the remake of the first game, one of Jill's bonus outfits is very much like Linda Hamilton's outfit from
Is
Terminator.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Linda Hamilton kind of started that whole badass chick fighting
Think these
evil
things got to
thing,
Chris and
you
Jessica?
know?
Yeah, her and Sigourney
I hope
Weaver
not.
and Alien
Yeah,
for
oh
sure.
yeah, from Aliens.
Hey.
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure.
No one's saying Chris is dead.
For sure.
Everything that came
Yeah,
after,
I
yeah.
guess Sigourney. Was Sigourney after or before?
I think just before, because I think Alien came out in '79.
Yeah, it would have been just before. Yeah.
And then I think Terminator came out in
I'll check it out.
'84.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, props to.
Copy that.
But
I'll radio you if I pick
Sigourney,
up Krista's trail.
I feel like Sigourney was kind of a different character from
Chris.
Linda.
Chris.
But it's great.
Say something.
You know, your understanding of the character, because you identified, as you say, you're identifying Linda Hamilton more than Sigourney, and I'm sure someone in the chat will correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm certain that when we interviewed, or in a very early interview of the Resident Evil developers that wrote the scenario for the first game and created the Jill Valentine character, they were very much inspired by Linda Hamilton.
Were they?
Character, by the Linda Hamilton character
Oh my
in,
God, I
in
did not know
Terminator.
that.
Yeah, because
There's definitely inspiration from the Terminator series. There is inspiration from the Alien series, and then there's Night of the Living Dead, etc.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I'm sure I'm remembering a post in a Resident Evil website where someone was referencing an interview with Iowa-san, who created the Jill Valentine character, and there was a picture of Linda Hamilton as referencing the fact that he had said that this was one of the characters that he'd sort of based the Jill Valentine character on.
Right.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll confirm that by the time the stream's ended, but I'm sure that's the case.
That's really cool. I
Yeah,
didn't know that.
that's so cool. That's so cool that you mentioned her.
Yeah.
Without knowing that.
So there's also, it's interesting what you said about the female in the military, because Jill's character, they don't really say this stuff in the games, but there is material in the lore that states that she has actually trained in the past with Delta Force, which at the time of the late '90s, Delta Force was a part of the military that was only strictly just men.
Oh, interesting.
So she was never officially active with Delta Force, but she actually trained with them. So there's something unique and special about that.
Yeah, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
We have a question from Jeff Burns, Michelle. He's asking, given the opportunity, would you have liked to have performed the mocap for Jill? Too much hard work.
It's hard work, yeah. I mean, it would be fun. It would be fun to do a mocap project like that, just to say I've done it. But, do I want to do that? Not really. I mean, I've done mocap, like face mocap, but
yes.
I've never done like full body mocap. But it seems like it would be very physically challenging.
Oh, it is. It is. I think many of the voice actors we have also simultaneously do the mocap. Say it's extremely challenging, both to do that at the same simultaneously with the voice, but also just now with these as you rightly say, Jill's a very tough character, and it's almost like performing your own stunts.
Yeah, I mean, climbing ladders, and you really have to be I think you probably have to be in excellent shape. I mean, I would love to. Don't get me wrong. I'd love to try it. I'd love to be able to do that and say that I did it. And who knows? Maybe if I did, I would be like, "Wow, I love this." I want to do this all the time.
Action stuff seems very fun. But
Artie, you must tell me.
What's
you
up?
must quiet me down if I talk over any of Michelle's performances, because I'm not looking at the stream as much. I'm monitoring the live chat. So
I'll just stop talking now.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding. You're doing just fine.
I don't know, Artie. I don't know how you can play and talk at the same time.
Well, that's why I've got George, Trevor, and Moni here.
Oh, that's right.
they're
By the
helping me
way,
out with that.
There's a question from Director Smiley. He asked about the generation. He asked if Michelle still can do the Rennie voice from the generation.
Oh my god, that voice. I forgot about her. Yeah, she was Indian. I think so. I would have to practice, but I'm not sure.
There you go.
I had to practice that before I did it because, you know, they wanted that specific accent. I always like, uh-oh, somebody's head just fell off. Oh, fake.
So we find out that Chris is not really Chris at all, but a dummy.
A pipe head.
A pipe head, yes.
Yeah. But generally when I do accents like that are not... I'm dead. Shit.
You remember doing that?
Yeah. Anyway, when I do accents like that, I will generally practice, you know, before I go in to make sure that they're accurate.
Oh, fantastic. There we go, Smiley.
Michelle Valentine.
It's time you learn the truth.
What is the truth?
You can't handle the truth.
Look at you, 100% accuracy? Damn, Gina.
Oh.
Woo!
Wow. Yeah, I only shot... What did I do? I only shot 1 or 2 monsters, then I ran past the rest of them, so that explains it.
Forgive me, I didn't see who it was, but someone in the chat mentioned they really liked the way that you announced the previously on, because, you know, this is separated into into episodes, and when you start a new episode, they recap what happened in the previous one.
Oh, thank you.
Previously on Resident Evil Revelations.
There it is.
Lost
Oh,
contact
okay.
with Chris and Jessica.
The signal was lost over the ocean.
Queen Zenobia.
Right here on this ship.
No signs of life. But I feel like something's here.
I think it's a gun. This is not good. Where are you, Chris?
That's who you found earlier.
Right.
It's a trap.
So recap.
It's time you learned the truth. Jill Valentine.
Ooh.
I'm scared. Double mystery.
There's a question from Tata Batista. She's a streamer from Brazil, a great
Hi.
friend of mine. And she's asking if you have a favorite line from Jill, maybe from Revelations.
Oh boy. Is that my booty?
That's Jessica.
No.
That's the other one
That
who...
can't be my booty. Jeez, that's a funny booty. That's a Brazilian booty. What? Oh, she looks Brazilian. Look at her.
Jessica Sharawat is her name.
on the far side of this peak.
You know, I probably, if you had asked me that like right after I recorded or within the couple of years,
Yeah.
I might have. But it's been so long, honestly, I don't remember.
No, it is a little unfair. It's a great question. It's a great question.
It is.
Yeah.
It's been about, what, 8 years since you recorded?
Yeah, it's been 8 years. But honestly, if something pops up that I remember I loved doing, I will point it out.
Oh, cool.
Actually, I'm playing as Chris right now, but I saved more Jill sections. I might just skip this just to play as Jill.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be a great idea. Yeah,
Let
go
me-
for
yeah,
it,
let me
Art.
do
It's a
that.
good idea.
Let me do that, because I've got save games.
Meanwhile, there's a question from William Ford. On the
Hi,
scale
William.
of 1 to 10, how tough is Jill Valentine?
On a scale of 1 to 10,
Previously
I'd
on
say-
Resident Evil
I'd say she's a
Revelations.
10.
We lost
I
contact.
I
would
think
say
it should have to be, yeah.
Yeah.
The signal
I mean,
was lost
She
over
really,
doesn't use gloves, right?
yeah, like facing zombies, like, I don't know.
ship.
I mean, I think I'm pretty tough in real life, but could I do that? Oh, hell no.
I think it's a gun.
I don't know. I
And
don't know
she's
if a lot
gone
of...
through so much. By the time she's got to this stage, you know, she's gone through mansion, you know, all sorts of things.
An entire
so,
city
Yeah.
Yeah.
just shortly before it blew up.
What is
I think a lot of people can't measure up to the toughness of Jill Valentine if they wanted to.
She's pretty badass.
Yeah.
A question, and again, we appreciate the recording sessions were a while ago, but we've not seen him in our streams before. So hi, welcome, great to see you here. Were there any lines, Michelle, that you had to either redo, or maybe you improvised at the time, or you just went back and they had to rewrite?
Yeah, because what was happening during the recording is I would have the lines in front of me, but I would also be seeing the mocap video.
Ah, yes.
So
Where?
wait, I'm just watching. Where the hell are we? I remember that scene. So yeah, there was some rewriting that we would do on the fly. And then sometimes, Stephanie, who directed it, she would say, okay, do you want to just improvise, like follow the scene with like breaths and efforts and stuff? Or we would since the client was there would be rewrites if they felt like something didn't work quite as well, or we would do, alt takes to stuff. And they would decide, afterwards in post-production, which line they wanted to go with.
That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah, and I find it interesting that you say that you were watching the mocap video as you were doing the lines. That just shows the natural progression of where video games have come since the past. Because the earlier games, when we had the Joe and Heidi podcast. Hold on, just had to throw him into the TV.
Yeah, boy, he's gross. What's with those hands? Like
it's part of the mutation of the T abyss virus.
Oh my god, it looks like a giant conch shell on his hands, or like what do they call those? The sevens, the big shells that have like the 7 prongs on them.
Yeah.
Oh hi. Hey, what's that? Big crabby claw coming at ya. Crabby claw. Watch out! Oh, no! Ew! Oh, ew! I don't know what that big giant, tube tongue.
Tube tongue.
Ugh.
Well, so what was I? Okay, yeah. So the natural progression of how video games are in development. Yeah. Joe and Heidi, even back in 2002 when they were doing the remake of the first game, said that they would they really didn't get any reference to to their characters when they were doing the voices. They would just record the lines essentially. They had no concept art. They had they didn't watch any videos or look at what their characters were doing. They just recorded it, and I'm assuming that the animation would have been built around the recordings at that time.
Yeah, prelay. And the animation was built around my recording as well, but also in conjunction with the mocap.
Right.
So I don't think I did mocap for every scene. Like, it wasn't mocap for every scene, but I'm trying to remember. Again, like I said, it was in I think we recorded it in 2010. Okay. Probably 2009, 2010, and then it was released in 2011. So it was actually longer ago than 8 years. It was probably 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Wow. But yeah.
Quick question from someone with a great name, Yo-Yo Konkani.
Hi, Yo-Yo.
And wants to know, have you ever sat down and played Resident Evil with your son?
No. I should.
No, I've asked that question not knowing how old he is. Sure.
Yo-Yo, do you have the game? Let's play it together.
I found these stuff.
There you
go. Does he have it?
Let's see.
I don't know. Well, we'll find out. We'll stay tuned.
I'm sure he'll text me. I'm sure I'll get a text from him in 2 minutes. I
Ah.
know, Yo-Yo.
Okay. Oh, cool. Just a shout out, BSA Arclay. From he's part of our the Crimson Head Elder team.
Hi.
Part of our team, Michelle. BSA Arclay. He's over in Wales and he's joined the chat.
Hi.
And Joe White is in the chat as well, the voice of Chris Redfield from the remake of the first Resident Evil game.
Oh, cool. Hey.
Oh, hey Joe. We'll see maybe.
Chris from
We'll
a
see
different
if maybe we
universe.
can
and
get Joe to join our call, and he can maybe put over a couple of fan questions to you, Michelle. Because yeah, as Artie says, Joe voiced Chris Redfield in the remake of Resident Evil.
Cool.
A Chris from one universe and a Jill from another.
Oh, Krabby Claw again. Oh! She bled. What happened? You fixed her?
I fixed her. We have to fix Jill.
You have to. Oh, here comes another one. Oh, watch out. Dang, you're pretty smooth with that remote there, Artie.
I'm trying. Sometimes the dodge mechanic in this is a little bit. You got to time it just right to get it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, tube tongue comes out, and you know.
I know. No, we don't want to see that. See, that's pretty brave. She just opened like that thing. She doesn't know what's in there.
Yeah, anything could have crawled out and got her.
Right? Even though it's supposed to be weapons, but you never know. Right?
That's Jill Valentine for you. So what do we got going in the chat?
Now what?
Yeah, it's just a lot of sentiment and people just saying that they love the game and they just love Michelle's performance. There's a few questions that we're backing up. I'm just going back to pick a couple all now, actually.
I have one here from John McLean. He asked, what are some of your favorite horror films, Michelle?
Favorite horror films? Well, The Exorcist and Poltergeist. Friday the 13th. Let's see. Favorite horror. Well, let's see. What else? Let me think about that here for a second. I just worked on it too.
Oh wow!
That's right. I think I did see your name in the credits for that.
Yeah.
Is there, what voices did you provide in that?
I just did like the Walla Loop Group stuff.
Okay.
But I did get to see it like beforehand. Oh, The Shining. Do you guys remember The Shining?
Yeah.
Oh god, yeah, one of my favorites. Yeah.
That's a classic.
And you were talking again for that atmosphere, you know, because I'm not a fan of gore. I don't like gore, but I just love, you know, you said that psychological horror and atmosphere.
Yeah. And I don't know if Jaws would be considered a horror film, but I loved Jaws, like that whole psychological, you know.
No, god, yeah, absolutely.
That's so scary.
Yeah, and like the Silence of the Lambs.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Oh my god. Oh,
Yeah.
did you guys see Get Out?
I never saw that one actually. I still have yet to see that one.
That was really good. Really, really good. And of course, like Poltergeist is always on my like old school list.
Yeah, that's really creepy too.
Oh my god, what about Carrie?
I've seen that long time ago.
Yeah, it's interesting. You've mentioned two of my wife's favourite films, Carrie, and you mentioned before The Exorcist, her favourite film.
Which one?
Yeah. Carrie and The Exorcist was her all-time favourite.
How about do you remember the Amityville Horror?
Yes. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. It's funny because I didn't watch too many horror films, but that was a series. Yeah, Artie and Monique can say how familiar they are with that, but yeah, particularly the first two, really got to me. Actually.
Yeah. After that, it was kind of stupid. But yeah, like A Nightmare on Elm Street with Johnny Depp,
Right.
Halloween, like all of the old school horror films. I love all that shit.
Can I just quickly say sorry, Michelle, because I think he's one of your number one fans. They know who. We've got Jeff Burns, who's asked and giving much love to you in the chat.
Hi, Jeff. I love Jeff.
And also, if I could ask you, if you don't mind, just to say hi to a huge supporter and fan of Resident Evil, and he's been in the community doing timelines and all sorts of things, and providing the fans with extra information. We've got from England, Sean, Stars Tyrant.
Hi, Sean.
How you doing, Sean?
And he
Shout
does
out,
stream.
Sean.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, he's been streaming Revelations, and I know it's great. Yeah, just seeing him in the chat. He's from the Project Umbrella team. They're another big website that also do podcasts as well.
Very cool. Thanks for your support. So cool.
Joe White is just saying that he can't stay today, but he just wanted to say have a great time and speak to us all. And Joe, I don't know if you have got quick time to jump on the call. It'd be great to hear from you. Otherwise, we'll definitely see you next time.
Thanks for popping in, Joe.
You owe me a file, Joe. Don't forget about it.
Uh-oh. Better get on it.
Yeah.
And I mean, talking of file readings,
Paul, he's saying to show the stuff that he sent you.
Yeah, Joe, I was very. I can't show it on at the moment while we stream the game, but yeah, Joe sent me a signed copy of the game he was in, Resident Evil Remake on GameCube.
Awesome.
And yeah, which is very cool, and a really old kind of video game magazine from back in the day when Joe did a little interview that he signed as well. So yeah, they're lovely. So no, thank you. I did receive those. Thanks, Joe.
Awesome.
Awesome stuff, Joe.
Did you see she's just beat the shit out of this guy?
Oh yeah. You see how she just like made her leg go completely vertical to kick him in the face?
I know. Pretty impressive.
It's interesting that she got to do it in this game because that was a scrapped concept of the remake of the first game, because they were going to think about doing melee attacks, but they decided against doing that. And Jill was going to be able to, kick the monsters and everything, while Chris was able to punch them.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But does that kill the monsters, like kicking and punching, or it just slows them down?
For the
Gets them out of your way.
Usually it gets them out of the way. I'm sure if you do it enough times, the game will allow you to kill the monster, even if it's not realistic.
Right.
Previously on Resident Evil Revelations.
Revelation. Oh
Hello?
boy.
Is this who I think it is?
It is.
Joe White? Michelle Ruff, meet Joe White.
Hi, Joe.
I'm starstruck right now. Hi, Michelle.
No.
So nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Thanks for coming on. It's so cool.
Oh, you know what? I've got a crazy busy day today, but how could I pass up the opportunity?
Oh. Sweet.
Jill meets Chris. Wow.
What's that?
Just say Jill meets Chris.
Jill meets Chris.
Different universes.
Jill,
On ResidentEvilMatch.com.
I like long walks on the beach and fighting zombies. And,
You do? Oh my god, you like fighting zombies too?
oh my god, really? Oh,
Seriously?
let's go out.
This is great. This is great.
I'm just fanboying in silence.
Do you touch biohazardous materials with your bare hands?
Not on the first date.
You guys are funny.
We just got a message from enthusiastic. I should read these. I should read these names from my head before we.
Enthusiastic Bombugulu or something like that. Bombugulu.
Yeah, he's just said this is why the internet is awesome.
That's exactly true. Oh my
Yeah,
god.
in Brazil we say that's what I pay internet for.
There you
There
go.
you go. That's exactly right. Is this Moni?
Previous.
Monique?
Resident
Yes.
Evil Revelations.
Monique, right now, while we have Joe on the call, say it to him in person.
You owe me a file, Joe. You forgot about me. How could you?
Believe me, it's on my mind every moment of every day.
Of every waking
Here.
moment.
Every waking moment, I think about I've got to do that file for Monique. And I will, and I shall. I have to put my voiceover booth back together. Do you have one of those, Michelle? And I'm assuming you do. Everybody's got a home. Yeah.
I do, yeah.
Yeah.
I have a pimpin' home studio. My hubby built for me.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm lucky.
And talking of file readings, because Michelle, you did do one for Monique a few years ago, because I've seen Monique want to give out the link to.
Oh, we have Jill's diary and Jill's monologue from RE3.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah, because I was listening.
No pressure, Joe.
Oh, there's nothing but pressure. Don't fool yourself. No, I love it. Listen, I love you all intensely and in probably inappropriate ways, but I have to go.
Joe, thank you so much.
Bye.
Thanks for stopping by to say hello, Joe.
Have a great weekend, everybody.
You too.
Thank you, Joe.
Joe.
Don't forget about me.
Bye-bye.
Oh, that was fantastic.
That was great. Having a call in from Joe White.
So the FBC is on this ship too. What's going on?
Well,
Yeah, because I was listening to that file reading that you did, Michelle, for Resident Evil Database, the Jill's diary, and it was beautifully read, and definitely get to appreciate the emotion that you were told to to kind of constrain for the actual game.
Yeah. It was tough, but we did it.
What's amazing, everyone loved that content. I even showed everyone the content again. We did the lore run for Resident Evil 3, and we ended with Jill's diary. It was so nice. Everyone loved it.
Very cool.
And everyone in the chat, Michelle, is just saying, "What a moment with you and Joe White." They're just, yeah.
You guys,
so many fans.
You guys totally just hit it off. You're both so funny.
That was funny.
That was great. Oh man, that's gonna be cemented in my head. Do you touch biohazardous materials with your bare hands? Not on the first date. I love that. That's just golden right there.
I like long walks on the beach and killing zombies and.
Oh, Joe's so great. He was one of. I mean, actually, in fact, after yourself, Michelle, you were the very first special guest to come on the podcast. It was so kind. I've said so many times before that. You didn't even look to see how big we were in terms of subscribers or followers, and thank God you did. Thank God you didn't.
No, we had a conversation about it. You told me you were just getting started.
Oh wow! Oh, thank you. And then Joe came along on our second, I think actually on our third podcast, and just like yourself, it wasn't a case of an interview and then goodbye. Just like we carried on you carried on a relationship with us as Joe did, doing file readings, and I've got to say both of you have been very special to us over the years. It's been fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
that's very sweet.
How do you know?
It truly is special. I've never seen anything like it. Honestly, the Resident Evil community. Yeah, well, with the connection with like doing the files and like with the community for Resident Evil and stuff. Like it's like I wouldn't go so far as to say it's like very intimate, but like the connection between the talent and the fans is very interesting on like a more I guess it's not like it's just like wide scale, like you're going to a con or something like that. It's like almost direct connection. So it's great.
It's such a huge franchise, It's just the franchise kind of, I think, presents itself. I feel like I'm just a cog in the wheel. Really, it's like all of the characters, all the voice actors, all the fans, like none of it would work without the other. So, you have to, you got to feed the beast or the beast gets hungry. Right?
Yeah.
I think it's about time. We're on that hour mark. I should join Aaron, the Oracle Dragon, to the call. We were going to swap out, weren't we? Aaron, I can see you in the live chat. Artie,
I'll tell you what. Joe was in here, and there wasn't really any tech issues. You think maybe we could just join Aaron in and keep it like this, or do you want to swap out completely?
No, well, I don't mind staying. I mean, the guys in the live chat might have something to do with that. I know they're much Pennsylvanian voice than my monotone English one. So we'll join Aaron and we'll see how we go. Yeah.
Okay, sounds good.
Question from BSA Arclay, part of the Crimson Head Elder team, and he says, could you please ask Michelle if she recalls any interactions with Dai Sato? He was the game's writer, so they may not have met, but he was still curious if you met the game's writer, Dai Sato.
I don't know who. I feel like he might have been in. He was either in the booth, he either flew in or he was on Skype. So I know he had direct interaction and was a part of the sessions, but I can't remember if he was in person or over Skype.
Oh, that's interesting. So you were at least you were in contact with some of the Japanese developers.
Yeah, well, I mean, I didn't talk to him directly, but because what happens in a session when you're recording, the director is is the voice that you hear. So Stephanie Shea directed this particular video game, so she would get direction from the writers and the producers, and then she would assimilate that information and give it to me. So you're on a button basically, and when the button is off, you don't hear any of the conversation that's going on in the control room. And everybody's talking and putting their 2 cents in, and I'm behind glass. And then when the director pushes the talkback button, they will give you the direction from the writer and the producers. So I'm 100% sure that he was involved, but did I meet him? Most likely, but I don't remember like specific names of the people that were there. There were 2 guys from Japan that were there.
Okay.
One of them might have been him.
And you mentioned Stephanie Shea as the voice director.
Yeah.
And because would I be right to think that's also the voice actress who voiced characters in the Resident Evil series?
Say again?
Would I be right to think that's Stephanie Shea that has also voiced characters in Resident Evil? I'm pretty sure that she's a voice actress too.
Oh, she's a voice actress for sure. She's Sailor Moon.
Yes, because I'm pretty... Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. Hasn't Stephanie voiced Jill herself, or was it Ada Wong?
I think it was Rebecca Chambers.
Rebecca, yeah, from Umbrella Chronicles.
Ah, thank you. Okay.
By the way, about Stephanie, I heard she's really short because I'm really short, so I feel so happy when I know someone is short like me.
She's tiny. She's little. She's my little. Yes,
Like
she's petite. I always know when she's been in the booth like ahead of me, because where the microphone is placed. I'm like, was Stephanie here? They're like, yes. Or Rich, you guys know who Richard? You know who Richard Epcar is?
Richard Epcar.
He's a big voiceover guy. I'm like, was Richard here? Or Patrick Seitz? I'm like, Patrick must have been here.
Petite guys?
Huh?
Petite guys?
No, they're huge.
Ah, okay, so the opposite.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
They're like 6'3", 6'4".
Oh, man.
Artie, just very quickly, just a bit of housekeeping. I'm doing a really poor job of trying to add Aaron to the call.
We have yet to find one survivor.
Give me 1 second. I hope nothing goes wrong here. Let's try it. Okay, I'm ringing her now.
Hello.
That's a pretty ominous, creepy voice.
Yeah, it is.
Can you hear us, Aaron? Oh, this is not going to be good.
Don't worry, I think she has joined. She might be getting her mic together.
Maybe. Oh boy.
Oh boy. Oh geez, surrounded. Oh. Oh, look at those big crabby claws. They seem to be getting more monstrous as we go along.
That's his cat dad.
Yeah.
And the other creatures are oozing.
What is it?
His name is Skagdad. And the other creatures, they are oozies.
Oozies. Nasty.
Okay. Not staying here.
You're like, bye-bye.
Oh, yeah.
Michelle, question from director Smiley. He says, what was it like working on Catherine and coming back?
Tube tongue.
Is she dead?
No, she's not dead yet.
You got her. Oh my god, what the hell?
Yeah. That ain't good.
That shit's nasty. What was it like working on Catherine?
And coming back for full body. Your Catherine was my favorite.
Oh, thank you. She's my favorite too. Ew. I'm sorry. I'm a little distracted with this two-headed monster coming at us.
Yeah,
no,
a bit of a hybrid there. Yeah.
That's gross. Working on Catherine, I have to tell you, the initial game record, I was going through some pretty heavy shit in my life, and record. Can you tell I'm like emotionally invested in this game?
Absolutely.
Michelle, it's a joy to
get your
this with
live react.
So fucking gross.
Now,
Put your tongue back in your mouth.
Now imagine
Did your
if
mother teach you any manners?
Imagine if you had to watch it on delay, we'd be hearing that like 10 seconds after it happens.
Yeah.
This is much better. So anyway, the first recording, I was going through some really like major stuff in my life. So, and the director of that game was also a woman, Valerie Aram from PCB Productions. And I have to say, it was very cathartic. Like, it was kind of, it was almost therapeutic, you know, recording and playing her, because I don't know, it just, I was able to just put a lot of the emotion that I had in my body and in my head and what I was going through at the time into the character. And then coming back to play her again, like, I don't know, it's just great to just get back in and, you know, get to embody that character. And have you played the game?
I haven't myself yet, no. For Michelle.
Oh, this was a question off the, yeah. So
yes.
If you played the game, you'll see, I mean, it's a different context. You know, the game is in a little bit of a different context, but it's really interesting. The story is very interesting, I think, and fun.
And I'm sorry. What game was this? Because I was too busy fighting a two-headed monster.
Artie, pay attention.
Catherine.
Catherine. Okay.
Yeah. Full body. Well, the original and full body. We just did the second full body was released in September.
Oh, okay, great.
My hubby loves this game.
And Jeff Burns has been mentioning the various directors that you've been working with in these games, Michelle. Jeff, I'm sorry I haven't been keeping up with all the messages. Like all of us, he was really enjoying your reactions, Michelle, to the gameplay. It's such a joy for all of us to hear this. And he says you've got the best timing today, Michelle.
And you're very charismatic as well.
Oh, thank you.
And I think he's referring to the previous game we were just talking about, because he says that it to have a great director like Val guide a performance like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think for me, a good director will give you direction and not over direct, and then kind of take a step back and let you do your thing, you know? That's, to me, is the sign of a good director. And I think like Stephanie did that too with this. Like she, you know, sometimes when you're directing, you have like a read in your head of how you want something to sound, but you don't give the read, you give the intention of the scene and the emotion, and let the actor do their work. And sometimes it comes out a little bit different than what you expected or what you wanted, but better, you know?
Right.
Or surprising, like, oh, I wouldn't have thought of that read, or I wouldn't, you surprised me, that was great, you know?
Yeah. It seems to be sort of like each project is like an ongoing process, like it evolves over time.
Yes, it does, for sure.
Typically,
unless you're
yeah. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, unless you're just in for like one session, you know, if you're not playing like a main character, you know, you're just sort of in for you know, incidentals, or you know, characters that the main player meets along the way. Then it's not really like that. But yeah, this sort of game definitely evolves over time.
Yeah, it's interesting. Not a lot of people tend to understand the creative process like that sometimes.
Yeah.
If they're on the outside.
Yeah. I mean, I would have never understood it myself, you know, prior to getting involved with it. I mean, even in Chicago, when I was doing, you know, I was at Second City Improv, and I was doing, you know, other work, commercial work, and like, you know, voices for toys and stuff.
Joe was there. Sorry to interrupt, but just interesting to hear you both, you know, interact like that, you know, so wonderfully. He was at Second City Improv too, I'm sure.
Who, Joe?
Yes, he's mentioned that as well. Yes.
Oh, there you go. So yeah, I mean, you know, it's kind of a different ball game, and I think when you're working with video games, or even like, you know, in an anime or an anime series, you have an opportunity to evolve a character a little bit more. You know?
Yeah.
It's like a little more meaty.
Yes.
That's interesting.
Meaty.
Yeah.
Like a zombie.
Like a zombie. Or a skag dead.
Oh, I'd be okay if I never saw one of those ever in real life.
I do believe, Michelle, that the Oracle Dragon, Aaron, has joined us, but I think she was mentioning that her Discord keeps freezing, but she is there somewhere.
Are you here?
I'm here.
Hi! She made it!
Yeah, I tried joining, the entire thing froze. I'm like,
that was us last week.
Right. It did more than freeze. It crashed and burned.
Crashed and burned.
Did you have marshmallows?
We did. We made s'mores.
Yum, 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 yum.
Well, all this information about the voice acting is intriguing to me because I try not to speak about it too much. I am an aspiring actor, but I've more recently switched over to just doing voice.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, because I, you know, life gets in the way, and I can still come home and, you know, at least record on a device.
Do you have a booth?
I don't have a booth. I'm slowly trying to upgrade my system. I've got at least what they consider a decent enough microphone, but it's not like top of the line or anything like that.
Yeah. I mean, you know, when you're first starting out, you don't have to spend that kind of money. You know. Right,
and I'm sure if you could get a good enough quality voice, I'm sure that there's editors that know how to like even clean it up further or something like that.
You mean like if you're for sending like a file for audition, or for what?
Yeah, I guess for an audition, like I guess with the way that there's like technology these days with audio, you could probably slightly like give something more clarity if it's not like 100% these days. Like if you don't have the best equipment, so to speak.
Well, I was gonna say it depends on your equipment. Like you could, you know, if you're recording on Pro Tools, you can record something and then boost the quality of it afterwards. But I mean, it's always nice to have a good, you know, microphone and a mic pre. That's, you know, spending the money. Like after a while, I spent the money on a really nice microphone, and you know, for my booth I have now, and it really does make a huge difference in the way that the files sound. So,
I'm sure.
you know, but I think when you're first start, you know, sometimes I'll lay a track down on my iPhone. Like I've booked stuff, you know, when I'm on vacation or traveling, I'll record on like Twisted Wave, you know, and send files that way.
Oh, that's great. And there's a way to minimize the I guess like the feedback.
Yeah, it just depends on where, like you just put yourself in a, you know, in a closet, you know, or put, you know, or wrap a towel over your head. You know what I mean?
That's a new one. I've never heard of that. I should try that maybe.
Oh, that's an old one, honey. We gotta get you on board. Let's go.
Hey, yeah, you know, I'm totally down. Get me on board.
Put a towel over your head. Download the Twisted Wave app on your phone. Do you have an iPhone?
I do.
Yeah, just download Twisted Wave. You can edit on it and go stand in your closet and do your auditions.
Okay, I'll send you photographic evidence of that one.
I wish you would.
Just to prove that I did it.
And Jeff Burns name checks your husband, who he says is a great engineer.
Yes, Eddie.
Oh yeah, that's definitely great. Yeah.
We have a question, Michelle. A few that they're stacking up. There's one that's in Portuguese that I'll leave for Monique.
Okay.
And just before then, I'll quickly ask from BSA Arclay, part of the Crimson Head Elder team. He asked Michelle, and I'm not sure if there would have been any distinction at the time, you know, that would have then, you know, made this prevalent in your mind. But do you recall recording any lines for the beta, the prototype version of Revelations, which was actually quite different to the finished product? And I think one particular scene that he's referencing is there was a scene between Jill and Chris, which was quite tense, and actually from the dialogue suggested that they were at odds, almost at enemies with each other. So I just, you know, he was asking a good question whether, you know, there was that distinction, if you remember voicing lines for a beta, you know, a prototype version.
No, I don't think I did a beta recording. I think everything that I did was for the, you know, for the actual game when they were ready to, you know, when they were ready to go. I wonder who did her though for the beta. If it was just a scratch track, or if they used, you know,
Well, it's definitely your voice. Correct me in the chat if I'm wrong, BSA Arclay, but it's a scene that came out with the very first trailer.
The very first trailer, I think, was Patricia Jolly from Resident Evil 5.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's interesting. So they were with a different actress at that.
Yeah.
Well, she was Jill before me.
Right, she was your predecessor, so to speak.
Thanks, Stars. Yeah, Sean Stars Tyrant's also saying that it was Patricia Lee in that initial trailer. So were you even aware that they were with that previous actress for that initial trailer?
No, I was not.
That's interesting. I'll let you know if any more information comes up in the chat, but I wonder why. And fantastic, you know, that we've got to enjoy your performance, but that's an interesting thing. Moni, I've printed it in the chat. Did you get that question that came from someone from your part of the world?
Yeah, it's from Ani Madruga. He asked about the works from the other voiceover actress who did Jill. I mean, Catherine Disher or Patricia, since we are talking about Patricia. What do you think about their work as Jill? I mean, about Patricia or Catherine, or even if you checked the first voiceover acting from the first game from 1996, and we also have Heidi as lots of Jills.
You know, honestly, I have not heard any of the other actresses' performances, but I'm sure that they're all wonderful and beloved. You know, I can't say anything negative or positive about either of them, except I'm sure, you know, given the franchise, they were chosen with care. You know.
So obviously you weren't asked to voice match in any way or to make reference to the
No,
incarnation.
not at all. Not at all.
And I think maybe that goes in hand again with what you were saying about to kind of restrain the emotion and to do more of a stoic performance.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming that they decided to take her in a different direction, and maybe that's why I ended up with the role, you know?
It's possible. I mean, she seems very, sort of, like, yeah, she's very business in this one, it seems.
Very what?
Very, very business, like, oriented, like, all business, like,
yeah.
You know, not enough time to sort of, like, you know, have small talk.
Mm-hmm.
Which is not, it's not always the case, but yeah, it seems to be the case in this one, for sure.
I mean, was her character different in previous games?
I would go on to say that she was probably different in almost every game that she was in.
Gotcha.
In a way, like they added a different element to her each time that she came about. And it changes with the voice actors too. You know, with someone like Claire Redfield, who's also another long-standing character. I mean, for the greater part of the series, it was voiced by Allison Court. So we had that same persona, you know, throughout the series. Jill's been voiced by like 5 or 6 different voice actors. So.
Right. I know Kari Wahlgren has voiced her in like the Marvel
versus Capcom.
Versus Capcom, yeah.
Okay.
She did like I think she might have done 1 or 2 games, and then the new game coming out, I did not do Jill. But tell me something first. And I don't know who did. So.
The new is that the Teppen game that just came out? That card game?
I think Michelle might be referring to the remake of Resident Evil 3.
Yeah, the remake.
Oh, 3.
It's been missing for so many years.
Yeah.
The what?
Been missing for so many years. Her last appearance was in 2012 with Revelations, right?
Oh, Operation Raccoon City, I think, actually.
Raccoon City came. Well, I recorded.
Yeah,
Raccoon
1 month after. Yeah.
Oh, of course, yes, because Michelle, you did the voice for Operation Raccoon. You.
Yeah.
Yes.
But we recorded that after Revelations.
Yeah, yeah. It also came out after Revelations, so that makes sense.
Yeah, and then I heard that they just did a remake.
Well, we believe that Resident Evil 3, which very much starred Jill Valentine, we believe is in the works at the moment. We don't know for sure.
Yeah, I don't know either. I just know that I wasn't asked, so I'm assuming they got somebody else because I was not asked to do it.
I know that they have that Teppen game. It's like an interactive card game, like an app, and they went back to using Patricia Jolie as Jill for that portrayal.
Don't forget
right.
the raid mode for Revelations 2.
Yeah.
She what?
She's also in raid mode in Revelations 2.
Oh, okay. And I don't know who did her in that.
Have we got time for a quick non-RE question, guys? From Red Cross 173, Michelle. I know this is a little off topic, but what's your favourite catchphrase as Rukia from Bleach?
Oh my gosh, there's so many.
Finally quieted down a little.
Well, I mean, I always love giving Ichigo shit.
And I mean,
really, Ichigo?
Michelle,
I actually love the very first, like in the first episode of Bleach, when we were introduced to Rukia, is really like probably one of my favorite lines from the whole series.
I regret to inform you that I'm not very familiar with Bleach. I cannot comment on this. I apologize. If anybody else can answer that.
Michelle, you were just talking about Operation Raccoon City. Now, I imagine though it may be units of less prevalent in your mind because that was a game that didn't quite, have the strong narrative that Revelations did. It was very much a combat-orientated game, so I imagine that your dialogue would have been a lot more limited.
Oh, it was.
Yeah. But would you and this question again comes from BSA Arclay, do you remember working with any of the writers or the directors from Operation Raccoon City? And he names somebody in particular from our part of the world in England, the producer, the director of Operation Raccoon City, Andrew Santos.
That sounds familiar. But I think on my end here in LA, I feel like Liam O'Brien was in the booth with me that day as the director. So I'm wondering if they were Skyping, between Liam and him back and forth. Is probably my guess.
Sorry, I made a mistake. Sorry, Andrew, he was the director, he was the producer of Operation Raccoon City.
Yeah. I don't remember him being in the booth that day. Probably because I think I was only there for like 4 hours for Raccoon City. Like I didn't have a lot of dialogue and stuff to record. So, and he wouldn't have flown in for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I really wasn't helping. Thank you. Luckily, BSA Arc chat here to clean up my mess. I was right the first time. He was the director, Andrew Santos. Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, Andrew.
So to answer that question, no, I did not work with him directly. But I believe Liam O'Brien was his go-between in Los Angeles in the booth.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly.
Right. We got there in the end, BSA Arclay. Sorry. And if you want to jump on the chat, and BSA Arclay is part of our team, Michelle, so I hope you don't mind. If you want to jump on the chat, Andrew, and say hi, then by all means, come on board. We had Joe White earlier, and I think, Aaron, are you still there?
Yeah. Hi, Aaron. Hello. You're so quiet.
Laptop keeps getting hot.
She's like, yeah, I'm here.
The computer's getting hot? Is that what you said? The laptop?
Yes.
Oh boy.
It's the smoking. It's the smoking gameplay.
Roger that. I'll look
So
for it
far,
on my
already
end.
doing pretty good.
I mean, looking across at the many, different characters across different genres that you voiced, Michelle, a question from Vinny. Can I ask which traits from Jill's, Catherine's, or Yukari's personalities do you identify with the most?
Oh boy, that's a good question. Well, Jill, I like to think that I resonate with her badassness and her bravery and just the ability to step head first into stuff and take a chance without knowing what you're gonna find.
Sticking your hand down into
Sticking your bare hand into biohazardous material. Right. Catherine, I love her logical, smart brain. And Ruki or Kari, I love that she can be a little snot sometimes. Get away with it. Whoa! Holy shit!
Yeah.
Ugh,
I was slacking a little bit there.
What the hell was that called with the tusk hand thingy?
It's a variant of the ooze. I'm not sure what if it has a nickname or not. I forget.
Oh my god. You know what really grosses me out is the mouth with the teeth that come down.
They're just hanging
Like
out. They're like
They're
spiky
just hanging
buck
out
teeth.
of the front, yeah. Buck teeth, big time.
Big time, literally. Oh man.
Next time you shoot one, you're gonna be like, you need a retainer!
That's gonna be one specialized retainer, man.
Yeah, it'd be like, hey, get Invisalign, asshole!
Michelle, you're right. That was a great question and a great answer. And Adam Swartz, responding to your answer, says Yukari was also brave and stubborn, refusing to give up, and that's why I loved her in P3. Yes.
Yes, I love that about her too. Yeah, I guess with a little bit of that brassness that she has, there is definitely the bravery, you know, because she's putting herself out there.
We'll make sure that all of these links, Michelle, are in the description for the upload. You know, when we put this video onto our YouTube and our Podbean and on our website, all the links where your fans can find you. Because Dali Santos asks whether you're on Instagram, Michelle.
I am at Michelle Ruff VO1.
We'll make sure, as I say, those are in the descriptions, because I know there were about some I believe an animation that you do.
Oh, a puppet show that I
Yes.
created. Yeah, it's called My Thuggy Pony.
My Thuggy Pony.
My Thuggy Pony. MyThugggie Pony. And it's basically, it's just a silly, funny little puppet show that I created and produced and wrote. And I voiced in. I play Vanilla Bean Dream, the magical unicorn. And
okay.
I play Little Thuggy, who is Thuggy's 8-year-old son. So, but it's all puppets. So it's like where Sesame Street and South Central meet. South Central's like a neighborhood in Los Angeles.
Okay, so like, yeah, I get you. So like an adult.
It's an adult, yeah.
Yes.
It's adult themed puppet show, and we basically just kind of poke fun at shit. Like, you know, the whole thing is that just with the climate in the world today and everything that's going on, especially here in the States, with politics, and we just are like, God, people have lost their ability to just laugh at stuff. So
you can say that again, Michelle.
Yeah, we're just poking fun at things, and it's fun. It's fun. So hopefully people will check it out. We have a YouTube channel too, My Thuggy Pony.
Okay, so I was going to ask actually your YouTube channel, and again we'll put a link for that in the description for this video upload.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
That's
yeah,
okay.
A little bit different from Resident Evil, but
Different's good. Different's good.
Different is good. Yeah. That looks like a girl. Oh, that's the girl that got killed earlier.
It does look like a girl, doesn't it, Michelle?
Well, she had boobs and blonde hair.
Wait till you hear her.
We've been getting some questions from the Brazilian community, but Moni, I've been printing some of them in the chat for you.
Okay.
And just one last quick question from me, and then I'll hand over to Moni. From Jeff Burns, have you got any game conventions coming up this year at all, Michelle, or next year?
Yeah, I'm gonna be at SAC Anime in Sacramento ew. Gross.
Half her
Sorry.
face, half her head just like split open.
I know. Ugh. It hurts. So she's like, she must be just like half.
She's a half mutation, yeah.
She's a half mutation.
She's in the ducks.
Kind of like the Skag Dead.
She still retains a bit of her humanity. That's why she
Yeah.
doesn't talk.
I'm on it.
That's why she said it hurts.
Can I make a question from Ani Madruga to you, Michelle?
Yes.
He asked about the Resident Evil 1 remake. He asked if they decided to remake. If you would do Jill with those cheesy phrases, cheesy sentences, or if you would give Jill a more serious tone.
Well, I guess that would depend on the, on the creators. It wouldn't really be my call. I mean, I could do the cheesy phrases in this character. That might be kind of fun.
But what do you like the most? Something more serious or something more like cheesy and funny and funny, I mean?
I like both. I mean, that's part of the joy of being an actor is that every day is different. So, one day can be serious, the next day can be, my thuggy pony. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys, I know you guys aren't big anime watchers, but I did this series a couple years ago called Erase.
Okay.
With Ben Isaac Diskin and Stephanie Shea and Carrie Karanen and a couple of other really amazing actors. And Chermy Lee, this show was very much like a thriller drama, which is right up my alley. And I play like an 11-year-old boy. And literally, like, I would come out of the booth in tears. Like, I would be in tears in the booth and just wrecked for the whole day, because the content of it was so disturbing and real.
Yeah.
So it's like that one day, and then another day I get to, like I did some voices in the Addams Family, the new animated feature coming out, and that was like a freaking blast, like so much fun getting to play and work with the director, and then there's shit like this, which is also really fun because, I mean, it's at this point it's not real life. I mean, I guess it could be. Oh my god, poor thing.
Yeah, Erased is amazing. I love it.
You what?
I love Erased.
Oh.
You watched Erased, Moni?
Oh,
yeah,
you saw it? Oh my god. Was it dubbed into Portuguese?
Not really. I saw in Japanese.
Oh, you did? Okay, so I mean, wasn't it a great show? Great series?
Yeah, now I have to rewatch it in English just because of you.
So I play young Satoru.
Oh, I love this story. It's so amazing.
Yeah,
and I cried a lot. I also cried a lot.
Believe me, so did I. Stephanie's performance is like gut-wrenching.
I had to step out of the room for 1 sec, so forgive me if this was already mentioned. BSA Arcplay just checked your IMDb page, Michelle, and noted that you were in Whiplash.
I was?
Ah.
Wait, Whiplash?
He references a film called Whiplash.
Uh-oh, are people messing with IMDb again?
I don't know. People might be messing with IMDb. I might have, but honestly, Whiplash, isn't that the story about the kid who's the drummer?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I was in that.
We'll send you a link and get back to you on that. Yeah, it does sound like maybe someone has left us a red herring there. Says BSA's Arclay says as an audience member.
As an audience member? Huh, that's interesting.
No,
and
that.
and is this another red herring? Curse of Chucky.
No, I actually played Good Chucky. in Curse of Chucky.
You played good Chucky.
Yeah, I did the voice. Like I had to voice match the original good Chucky from like back, like the original Chucky before Chucky was evil.
Right.
So that is not a red herring. That is for real.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I feel sorry if you can say hi to a big supporter of Dreams and community member chap called Yoke.
Hi, Yoke.
Who asked, he wanted to apologise for getting here late and asked if he'd missed anything. And lots of people in the chat have just been making him feel very jealous by telling him that he missed that big encounter with between yourself and Chris Redfield actor Joe White. So Yoke is feeling very, very sorry for himself that he missed that. We'll just have to get here on time in future, Yoke.
Say again?
I'd say he just has to get here in time in future.
I know.
All right, what do we got going on here?
I hear something.
I hear something. That's my favorite line. No, I'm just kidding.
There you go. I hear something.
I hear something.
I mean, we are, Michelle. I'm sure you're not surprised to hear we're getting many requests from your fans in the chat to to do voices in the style of Jill. But well, I haven't been putting them to you as they've all been coming in, so I don't want to put you on the spot. So we'll leave that, whether an opportune moment may or may not come up between now and the end.
Oh my god, that's funny. Did anybody see Angry Birds 2?
No.
I haven't. No, have you guys seen it?
I haven't seen it either, but I did the voice of the little Chihuahua in that.
That's great.
I can't remember the Chihuahua's name now, but that was pretty fun.
Previously on Resident Evil Revelations.
Now BSA Arkley's a little worried, like we. But he's saying that were you on the TV show Lost?
I did some voiceover stuff for it, but not like on camera.
Okay. But that's interesting. Would that have been sort of voices in terms of sort of atmosphere and crowd things or?
Yeah.
Okay.
For that particular show, yeah.
For something linked to this ship.
Like some stuff is when I do looping, it's more or Walla, or voiceover stuff. It's more relay, original, or you're like more in the forefront, and then sometimes it's in the background.
That's interesting because actually that was a term that Jeff Burns had used in a previous question, which, forgive me, Jeff, I think I left aside because in my ignorance I wasn't familiar with that term, looping.
Looping, yes.
Would you for people like myself that hadn't heard that term before, would you like to explain that? Thanks, Michelle.
So what looping is, it's basically like you get hired to come in and be a part of a loop group or Walla group. And it's technically, the way I look at it, it's like you're like in a theater improv troupe, but it's all voiceover. So when a show, like a feature film or a TV show is shot, they only mic the principal character.
What's that sound?
What's that sound?
It's
the background. So we go in post-production and we fill in the background. So it could be like crime scene investigators, doctors or nurses. It could be a bar scene or a club, or people having cocktails, or a city.
I see. Yes.
Or,
so it's like laying another dimension under.
Yeah, you're adding another character to the film or to the show. It becomes a texture, and then like I do like hits and efforts for a show called Arrow. So when the principal characters don't want to come in and do all of their hits and efforts for the show, then I will do their hits and efforts for them. You know what I mean? So you hear the you know, but I have to voice match.
Interesting.
So there's that. And then there's like sometimes we will do sound alikes for like temp dubs if the actor can't make it in, you know, to do their temp. They'll hire somebody to voice match that person. And then sometimes we do like PAs, like, you know, hospital PAs or like computer voices or like the other end of a phone conversation. You know,
right.
Stuff like that.
That's interesting, right?
It's like it seems like such a small thing or a simple thing, but it really like does neatly, like, you know, tie up like the composition of a scene. Just like how like you would have extras in the background of like a scene with principal characters. Like if you still just had the two characters there doing something without, you know, what the environment calls for, it would feel pretty bland. So, yeah.
And you have to, like, if I get hired for, you know, to do crime scene investigation or police stuff or, you know, a medical, you have to come prepared. Like, you have to do research and you have to pretend like you know what you're talking about when you're in the scene, you know.
Yeah.
And then it could be that, and then I do a lot of kids, you know, like background stuff, or I'll revoice kids. Huh?
What was that, Paul? Okay.
There. I guess, did he drop out?
He might have for a second, yeah.
I guess we lost him.
Oh, hi, sorry. Wait,
yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, you're back. Sort of.
Yeah. Hi, sorry, I cut out them for a moment. Sorry.
Oh. So, yeah, and then, like, you know, specialty-wise, I'll go and I'll get asked to come in because I can do kids, you know. So I do kids' voices, and then I do, you know, the next scene I'm playing a doctor. So...
That should be so many things.
Yes, you have to be a lot of things, and you have to be versatile. So that's looping.
And it's very interesting too. It's almost you know, you're allowed to step outside of yourself, being a voice actor, even more so than being an actor, because.
You mean on-camera actor?
Yeah, because I mean, depending on your voice, you could voice someone who looks completely different than you if it calls for a certain, you know, type or style.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's very interesting.
That's the fun of it. You know, I can play a 12-year-old boy.
Right.
Oh God, no!
Didn't even get the bite off that time.
Get out of there, Artie.
I'm out. I'm out.
Oh! Is that like a zombie fish?
Yeah, it's a bit of a zombie fish.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. They got bad teeth too. We need retainers for them also.
I know, Invisalign.
Oh my God, there's so many of them.
I'm just
I
amazed
know.
how fast she can move through water.
She does move fast in water.
She's Jill Valentine.
It's that booty.
It's okay. I made it.
The magical booty.
It is a magical booty.
Come check out the Michelle Ruff stream where we feature a lot of Jill's booty.
Well, that's what I'm looking at right now.
That's true.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
BAC.
Gotta look at the back.
Gotta look at the back. Yeah, there you go, Aaron. Nice one.
There are no keys here.
Little in the middle, but she got much back. I like big butts and I cannot lie. The other brothers can't be denied.
You're going a bit old school with your hip hop there, Michelle. That's from back in the day, yeah. Because I used to.
It is from back in the day.
Yeah.
Michelle, you are such a riot.
Everything old is new again.
Right. It'll loop back around. we have a lot of 80s stuff lately. I'm sure the 90s
I'm
will come
sorry.
back too.
Wait, I think Jill might have like a motor on her booty because she really is moving fast through that water.
It's essentially the same running speed as if she's just on foot, like on land. It just hasn't changed at all.
Look at her though. She's like throwing off some wake from that back end.
Moni, your English is so wonderful, and there's a question. Although it's coming from English, I think it's a question from someone from the Brazilian community, from Vinny.
Vinny, the man with two names, two first names.
Let me get here.
Huh?
He asked if does Michelle have a favorite kind of character, like badass like Jill or Crimson Viper, or a silly hothead like Etna? Sense of humor, by the way, he said.
I like them both. They're all my children. I can't tell. Vinny, I can't pick a favorite child. Vinny.
They're all part of Michelle.
Yes, they are.
There's also a question from Michael. He asked, how do you feel to know that you have so many fans with your work in Resident Evil as Jill?
It warms my heart, Michael. It warms my heart. No, seriously, I'm very grateful. You know, like I said before, it's a cognitive wheel. It's not just me. It's about the fans and about the game, you know. One really wouldn't be fun without the other.
And the fans have spoken, just like what was stated earlier. Jill is one of the fan favorites. The other one being Leon Kennedy.
I didn't know that.
Part of it.
Yeah.
You were part of it.
I didn't know she was a fan favorite.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's amazing that the fans accept each incarnation of her and love her, you know? Like, regardless of what the... Huh?
They want her to come back so badly, but Capcom won't do it.
Yeah.
It's true. Maybe this
I wonder why.
Well, maybe this Resident Evil 3 remake will be that incentive. If they're doing it, so to speak.
If they're doing it, I don't know.
We keep hearing all different rumors and stuff that it's happening. It's not going to happen. It is already underway. I don't know. We'll just find out when we get confirmation.
Yeah.
Hey, you ready for another question?
Yeah.
This one comes from.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. Sorry.
Well, this comes from
Keep
you.
talking.
He wants to know if you ever played Dead Aim.
I have not. Dead Aim.
It's another Resident Evil game. Very interesting choice for a Resident Evil game to ask if you played, because I feel like a lot of fans might not have even played that game. It came back a while ago on the PlayStation 2 in, I can't remember if it was 2003, 2004 or something.
Underground.
Yeah. It's not a popular title of the series.
I was gonna tell her. I was gonna tell Michelle that I remember Capcom did a poll once, asking the fans about their favorite characters, and Jill and Leon. Jill was the number 1, and Leon was number 2.
Wow.
So, even better.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
I see why Yoke now was asking, because Yoke normally asks good questions, Michelle, and I've been sat here racking my brains why Yoke would ask such a ridiculously stupid question, which everyone else here was far too polite to say. But no, that really threw us all about asking you why you've played Dead Aim. But no, he's quite right. Sorry, Yoke. Dead Aim is the other Resident Evil game that features a boat, features a cruise ship, just like Revelation. So I think that's why he was asking.
Don't forget about
Not so stupid after all, Yoke.
You're not stupid.
You're not stupid. You're just tardy.
We love you, Yoke.
We lost track
Don't listen to them. We love you.
And a question from Ivan, who I know well, he was having trouble connecting to YouTube, so actually he's put his question over in a Facebook message to me, and he just wondered whether you were a fan of the series The Walking Dead and whether that's a show that you've ever had an opportunity to work on or would like to work on.
I actually worked on the first season of The Walking Dead, and a few
wow.
episodes of the second, you know, doing zombie voices. Yeah.
Interesting.
But yes,
That's great.
yes. I did have an opportunity to work on that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a good show. It's a real good show.
I can't believe it's going on for as long as it is, and it's just wow.
I know, and it
Yeah.
had so many incarnations. I think people are fascinated with the whole zombie thing, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Anywhere. Let's get started.
This is the other costume they were talking about, Michelle. Jessica's
Oh.
costume, which has one leg.
Oh, wait. Who is that?
That's Jessica, the one that's with Chris from the snow.
She must be freezing. Did she just come out of the water?
Yeah.
They just came out of the chopper, yeah.
Search every room.
Can I say something funny? Here in Brazil, girls like Jessica, we call them piriguetes because yeah, piriguete is a, how can I say? It's a, you know those girls from the pop music. They use very short clothes and
Yes.
yeah, they are very sexy. We call them, yeah, they are called piriguetes in Brazil, and we
That's
say
cute.
piriguetes never feel cold. So
Never
Jessica's
feel
a
cold.
piriguete. Yeah.
That's great.
I remember I was in San Francisco with my husband a few years ago, and we were out like walking, going to dinner, and it was cold. Like it was freaking cold. We were all bundled up, and there was this girl that had like on the shortest skirt I've ever seen in my life, and the wind was blowing, and she's like trying to like, you know, keep the skirt from like flying up any higher because her hoo-hoo would have popped out. And my husband looks at me and he's like, "Does this skirt make my booty look cold?"
Yeah, she was probably a piriguete. So
I think she
Jessica's
was.
a piriguete. Yeah.
I love. Can I just tell you how much I love the Portuguese language? It's so great.
And actually, and also Falciane, because she is a fake person. She's actually a spy. Can I say
An
that
I
already?
spy? A Falcione?
That makes sense.
Yeah, she's
We'll
a
head down there now.
Falciane because she's a fake person.
Oh my God.
She's not honest, so we say she is Falciane.
Falcione
An ice
Pediches.
pie.
Falcione Pediches.
Piriguete.
Piriguete. Falcione Piriguete.
And also, since we are talking
Okay.
about Brazil, there's a question from Anima Druga. He asks, if you would like to come to BGS, it's Brazil Game Show, and DC Douglas
Yeah.
is coming this year.
That
so
would be
it would
fun.
be really nice to have you here.
I would love that.
I have to say, I'm sure everyone listening and on the chat here are, and Michelle, of course, will agree. I think I have to say, Moni, you're doing such a fantastic job. It's hard enough for me to keep up with the questions in my first language, and you know, Michelle, we're getting lots of questions in Portuguese in the chat here that Moni is looking at, you know, translating in her head and then reading back to you in English. You're doing wonderful, Moni.
You're smart.
Thank you. Actually, I'm looking for a few words in the dictionary here. So sometimes I'm typing.
Well, you're still doing a great job.
Don't tell them your secret, Moni.
I know.
You're doing fantastic, Moni.
Moni, you never kiss and tell.
I'm looking for words in the dictionary here, okay? Just ignore it.
And there it goes again.
These are some nasty little creatures we got going on here. I don't know what that is, but that's gross. Ew.
Michelle.
Yeah,
I
and
have
Jeff,
a question for you.
Yeah?
This comes from Bloody Eye. He says, would you prefer Jill or Jessica's booty?
I take Jill's booty.
Naturally.
Yeah, Jill. At least she's not a Falciani. She's not.
No,
Petey Gates.
she's not. She's not Petey Gates at all. And that booty's thick.
And Stars Tyrant saying Moni, huge cheer for Moni. That comes from Stars Tyrant, you know, and I'm sure, you know, reiterating the sentiment of everyone here.
Oh, thank you so much.
And Jeff Burns, Michelle says that, you know, and I'm sure all those listening, all the Brazilian fans must now request that you attend the Brazilian game show in 2020. So I'm sure all the Brazilian fans are going to be beating that drum for you.
Oh, that would be so fun. I would love that. I've never been to Brazil. I've been to Portugal, but I've never been to Brazil.
Yeah.
Oh, you should come. We have a nice food here. Our food is really good. We have pão de queijo, which is cheese bread. It's so good.
Yum. I'm in. I'm on the next plane.
There you go.
Well, we had a question. They apologise for it being completely off topic, but they just wondered what your favourite meal was, Michelle.
My favorite meal?
Yes.
Oh boy. Well, gosh, I love Italian food so much.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh boy, I have to pick one. Let's see. I would have to say my favorite meal would be pizza. I love like Italian thin crust pizza and a salad with a glass of red wine.
Okay, and Yoke struck again. I'm sorry, Michelle, because we food whether you like fish.
I love fish. I love good grilled.
Oh, there we go.
I like do a grilled fish on my barbecue with like Greek style with like fresh oregano, and chili flakes and olive oil.
There you go.
It's super yummy.
I'm getting hungry.
Yoke, I'm not asking that question. Yoke's asking a question to do with what's a particular word in Portuguese. I'm not asking that question, Yoke. If Moni wants to ask that question, she can.
Because, well, booty, we have lots of questions for booty in Portuguese. I think the most current one we have is raba. It's like, we can call this as bunda, boom boom.
Boom boom. I like boom boom.
But the word that is now on fashion is raba. There's a song here in Brazil. We have lots of songs from funk. You know funk music?
Oh yeah, it's one of my favorites.
Our own funk style. So there is a singer here called MC Pocahontas. I'm sorry.
I'm looking it up.
And the song from MC Pocahontas called Ninguém Manda Nessa Raba, which is like you are not the owner of this booty. You. It's Ninguém Manda Nessa Raba. I'm sorry.
Oh my god, that's hysterical. Polka, Brazilian singer. I see her. I love it.
You've really started something here, Yoke, with your question.
Sorry.
Like you said,
Oh, it's great.
How did the grenade not take them out?
What's the name of the song?
It's called Ninguém Manda Nessa Raba. Vini said it's no one owns this booty.
No one owns this booty. Gotcha.
I'm trying not to depreciate so much Brazil because sometimes we have a bad image for people.
No.
People think it's like women in Brazil are like bloody, but it's not true.
That's not true. I don't think people in the United States think women from Brazil are slutty. Most people that I know in the United States, the first thing you think of when you think of a Brazilian woman is that they're hot. Like gorgeous.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. Some how can I say that? Jesus.
Have you noticed me and Archie have gone very quiet?
Well, this is it's a conversation. I'm playing the game. I don't know what you're doing, Paul.
I'm just making sure I don't.
I'm still
Put in
trying
it.
to find that you don't own this booty.
Silence is the best.
Silence is golden, Paul. Yes.
You don't own this booty.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
still looking
ninguém
for it.
manda nessa raba.
Called his ass, let's see, in order to give it a Tanto Canto? Is that what you said? No. Not Tanto Canto. My booty novel. Shit, I can't find it. I'm all bummed. Oh, I've got
Anyway,
like,
you should come to
that's
Brazil sometime, Michelle.
I want to.
Come to Brazil. This place is amazing. You guys would love it.
Nobody home.
Polka MC.
Where'd you go, Jill?
I can't find it. I'm so bummed.
There is so much booty in the chat.
Sorry. Well, it's Brazil. We have lots of booties here, so.
Oh no, here's another
There you
booty.
go.
Another booty.
Do you prefer Parker or Chris's booty?
Yeah,
I don't know. I have to get a good look at it. I like men with, some girth on them. Like, I don't like skinny dudes. I don't want a dude that's skinnier than me. He's got to have like
Parker who has a good booty then.
yeah, he's got to have some, he's got to be able to pick me up and throw me over his shoulders. Right?
I won't disagree with that. I will not disagree with that. Oh, here we go. Here's
The
the.
White, come back, help us out here.
Picked up a pipe.
So the reason why I played that Chris section, Michelle, was that these were, for all intents and purposes, the same section of the ship. But then you found out at the end that the other ship, there was another ship that they were on that was identical to this one. It panned up and it said it panned up and the sign said Queen Semiramis instead of Zenobia. So they accidentally got directed to the wrong ship to find Jill and Parker.
Wait, what did the first sign say? Queen?
So Jill and Parker are on the Queen Zenobia. And
Right.
And Chris and Jessica were tasked with finding them to rescue them. And they ran right down to the engine room where Jill and Parker are here, but then it turns out that they were on the wrong ship. There's a sister ship that's almost exactly identical to the Queen Zenobia called the Queen Semiramis.
Oh, jeez.
I know that Satnev just let them down.
Yeah, because when we get to that section of the game, it's like, what in the world? What? Because you weren't expecting a second ship until they got to that point where they showed you the map name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I just say to the guys in the chat, I'm putting a ban on any more questions with the B word in it, okay?
Yeah, I have to fly soon.
I was going to say we've been on for you've been with us for over 2 hours now, Michelle. It's so kind. Artie, is there an opportune moment coming up that where we could draw this to a close?
Well, I did just start this scenario, so I'm not sure we'd be getting to the end anytime soon.
Should we do that? Should we give the guy, all your fans in the chat, the 5-minute warning, and we'll draw this to a close in 5 minutes if that's not keeping you too longer, Michelle?
That's fine. That's fine.
Thank you so much. And then any more questions that people and all the sentiment that they wanted to post, we can put that over to you. Because it's been over 2 hours now. It's been just wonderful, and I mean, just so many different highlights. I'll let Moni and Artie and Aaron can talk about theirs. I mean, apart from the whole thing being fantastic, and particularly Joyce, Michelle, to listen to your someone in the chat said your really charismatic and engaging responses to the gameplay. hearing you speak with Joe, the voice actor for Chris Redfield, and that that little date that you rhymed with him was fantastic.
Well, you basically just listed like all my favorite parts of the stream, so.
Awesome.
All the reactions to the game and that exchange with Joe, that short exchange with Joe was great. And yeah, no, just your enthusiasm for the stream in general. You know, you could have anybody come on here, and you know, there might not be engagement, but yeah, no, I really appreciate your enthusiasm for wanting to do this.
Well, it's real.
I believe it.
This is fun. I had a good time.
Yeah, and thanks for your insight on voice acting as well.
Yeah,
I also appreciate that. Thank you.
Pleasure. Yeah. Any help I can, any advice, just let me know.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
It's okay. The bulkhead's
Oh, and I'm just putting a message into the chat just to thank all your fans for tuning in and just all the sentiment and the questions.
For real, thank you guys for showing up today. You know, there's always that fear that nobody wants to talk to me. Like, well, why would people want to show up to talk to me?
Oh, well, I mean, it's still one of our most popular podcasts, the interview that we did with you, Michelle, and and also I don't know if you saw, I sent you over a link a while back because your file reading that you did so kindly did for us of Jill's diary, that to date that's the most viewed file reading that we've got of all the actors that have come back and done these file readings for us, so kindly reprised their roles. Yeah, we've got close to 5,000 views on, and that's not the interview. That's just the separate upload of just that file reading that you did for us.
Wow. That's amazing. Thank you, everybody, for the love.
There is one question somebody wants to ask before you go.
Okay.
Do you think there is maybe more to Chris and Jill than being partners, despite their insistence on
that they're not partners?
Yeah,
you mean that they're lovers?
Yeah.
Oh, are we shipping Jill and Chris now?
I think that's what Adam's trying to do. Yeah.
It's been a long-standing. It's been implied a couple of times.
Yeah, I have heard that. Yeah. I have heard that, but would I imply it?
What do you think of it? Do you think
even particularly in this game, they actually have something where Jessica's constantly flirting with Chris throughout the game, and he's like paying her no mind. He's concentrating on finding Jill, and then finally when they get reunited, Jessica and Parker sort of watch them walk off, and Jessica's like, I guess he never got the hint. What a drag. And Parker's like, well, maybe he's already taken Jessica.
Oh.
Not that they actually ever show something right on the nose with that, but there's always like these slight implications.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, hey, look, I'm open. We'll just put it that way. But I need a dinner and drinks first, Chris.
Just we can asking for lobster.
Then we can talk about it. Yeah.
Well, you guys already met up on here briefly.
Yo, that's an evil dating app.
Well, Michelle, what we'll do is we'll make sure that your fans, can find you wherever you are on the internet. We mentioned earlier with Instagram and My Thuggy Pony, the links for the YouTube channel that hosts that we'll put in the description, because within no more than, almost immediately after we turn the stream off, the video of it will be uploaded straight away to our YouTube channel. So,
great.
So many of your fans that would have, couldn't turn up live for tonight will get to enjoy and watch this stream over the coming days.
Well, thank you guys so much. This was a blast.
Thank you so much, Michelle. I'll hand over to RT and Aaron to say thank you. But from me, George Trevor, thank you so very much from the bottom of my heart. It's been amazing, a privilege to share this with everyone.
Michelle,
yeah, that was great.
Michelle,
Yeah,
it's been a real honor and privilege to share this space with you. So from Sonny Bauer at Crimson Head Elder, thank you so much for coming on the stream.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for playing such a kick-ass game.
That was partly you.
Yeah, it's fun to watch. Yeah.
And just over to Moni for the Brazilian community.
Guys, thank you so much. Sometimes my English is horrible. I was nervous all the time.
Moni, you did a great job.
I'm still shaking.
No. You did so
I'm
great.
sorry if I...
It took guts to do this, Moni.
I'm sorry. I think I'll be better next time because now I'm more comfortable. So I think I'll be much better next time. Para toda a comunidade brasileira, gente, desculpem se eu passei alguma pergunta. Se eu às vezes não falei alguma pergunta porque também estava repetida, então por isso que eu não falei. Obrigada ao Vini, ao Animadruga, eu vi a Dilminha aí também, então obrigada a todos, a Tatá também, todo mundo. Então, um beijo para todo mundo da comunidade brasileira. Tamo junto, galera. Thank you, guys.
I love the language. Obrigado. Obrigado for everyone in Brazil. Thank you so much for the love.
Thanks, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Come back again.
Thank you all.
Anytime. And enjoy the rest of your weekend.
All right, take
Bye,
care, everybody.
Michelle. Thanks again. We'll keep in touch. Thank you so much.
Okay, talk to you soon.
Leo, galera.
Bye.
All right, everybody. I'm going to end this here before this giant BOW takes care of Jill. So thank you all for joining.
Thank you to everyone in the chat.
Thank you,
Guys,
Moni.
I'm so sorry. I was a little quiet because I don't feel so good today.
Moni, you were amazing, and I'm sure everyone agrees.
You did a fantastic job, Moni. I'm happy you agreed to do this.
Yeah, I have BGS next week, and I have lots of things to take care of, and I'm so tired, and I don't feel so good. I'm so sorry.
You're incredible. I mean, just don't expect me or Sonny to come in, start translating, English into Portuguese.
Yeah, I was trying. I was trying. The dictionary helped me a lot. So sorry for everything, and that's it. I'm so sorry.
You did great. Well, thank you everybody in the live chat, and have a good one. I'm not going to let this thing kill Jill on screen. So thank you, and
thank you everyone. I don't want to mention specific now. Thank you, Adam Schwartz, Bloody Eye, Yoke, Vinny, Director Smiley, Stars Tyrant, BSA Arclay, Ivan, AVP Roo, and of course all the guys from Brazil, from Monique's part of the world. Thank you so very much. Director Smiley, of course. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Take care, everyone, and we'll see you on the next one.
Take care from Crimson Head Elder, that's crimson-head.com, and from Resident Evil Database. Have a good evening.